Let's start with a hard truth, one that might make you uncomfortable. You were not designed to be happy. You were not designed to be comfortable or fulfilled or even pain-free. You were designed, quite simply, to survive just long enough to replicate. There is a story we like to tell ourselves about the natural world. It is a comforting fairy tale we teach our children. We look at a golden savanna at dawn or a pristine forest, and we speak of Mother Nature. We use words like harmony, balance, and wisdom. We imagine a benevolent engineer who crafted every leaf, every limb, and every heartbeat with a divine, nurturing purpose. We see the gazelle grazing peacefully, and we think the world is a garden. But if you zoom in, if you truly look at the mechanics of that world, you will see that we are wrong. The gazelle is not peaceful. It is in a state of chronic, high-stakes terror. And when the cheetah breaks from the grass, the resulting violence is not a ballet. It is a desperate, messy, blood-soaked collision of physics. Nature is not a mother. Nature is a mechanic that is blind, deaf, and entirely indifferent to the screaming of the things it builds. To understand your own life, your anxiety, your chronic pain, your aging body, and your existential dread, you must first understand the mind of this blind architect. You must realize that there was no plan, there was no vision, there was only chemistry, time, and the ruthless mathematics of selection. The first principle we must confront is the Great Indifference. We tend to view suffering as a mistake, a glitch in the system. When we are in pain, we ask, why is this happening? But to evolution, pain is not a tragedy, it is data. It is a tool. The nervous system that screams at you when you touch a hot stove, or the crushing heartache you feel when you are rejected, these are not malfunctions. They are highly efficient features. Think about it. Evolution has no capacity to register your distress. It cannot feel your heartbreak or your back pain. It only cares about one binary outcome. Did you survive today? In the prehistoric jungle, the human ancestor who didn't feel fear when a twig snapped was eaten. The ancestor who didn't feel agony when they broke a bone didn't protect the injury, and they died. We are the descendants of the paranoid and the pain-sensitive. We are the children of those who were most capable of suffering. This explains the modern epidemic of anxiety. Now you might wonder why you feel a surge of panic when you receive a stressful email, or why you lie awake at night worrying about a meeting that is 3 days away. There is no tiger in your bedroom. There is no snake under your desk. But the machine we are living in does not have an off switch. We are running ancient software in a modern world. Your brain treats social rejection or financial uncertainty with the same chemical urgency as a predator attack. Chronic stress, PTSD, and depression are not necessarily broken circuits. They are the roaring engines of a safety system that refuses to power down. Evolution accepts your psychological agony as a fair price to pay for keeping you alive. It doesn't care if you are miserable as long as you are breathing, but the indifference of the architect goes deeper than just pain. It is written into the very structure of your body. If you were designed by a master engineer, you would be perfect. Your joints would last for centuries. Your eyes would be flawless cameras. Your back would never ache. But you were not designed. You were adapted. You were cobbled together from spare parts found in the garage of history. This is the principle of good enough. Evolution never seeks the optimal solution. It settles for the first solution that doesn't kill you. Look at the human spine. It is a disaster of engineering. For hundreds of millions of years, our ancestors walked on 4 legs. The spine was a suspension bridge, perfectly supported at both ends. It worked beautifully. But then, in a blink of evolutionary time, we stood up. Did evolution redesign the bridge? No, it couldn't. It simply took that horizontal bridge, tipped it vertically, and hoped for the best. The result is that the lower vertebrae have to support the entire weight of the upper body, leading to the chronic back pain, slipped discs, and sciatica that plague our species. We are a patchwork renovation of an ancient building, or consider the human eye. We call it a marvel, and it is, but it is a flawed marvel. The wiring of our retina is installed backward. The light-sensing cells face backward, and the nerves that carry the signal sit in front of them, blocking the light. These nerves then have to punch a hole through the back of the eye to reach the brain, creating a blind spot in your vision. A squid doesn't have this problem. A squid's eye is wired logically with the nerves behind the retina. But we are stuck with the legacy of our aquatic ancestors. We are full of these structural vulnerabilities, inefficiencies that are not mistakes, but the constraints of history. Evolution cannot tear down the foundation and start over. It can only tinker with the scraps. This tinkering leads us to the darkest realization of all, the planned obsolescence of your own body. Why do we age? Why do we crumble? Why is it that after age 40 or 50, the body seems to fall apart? The answer lies in the principle of short-sightedness. Evolution is obsessed with the immediate. Its only goal is to get you to reproductive age and ensure your offspring survive. It has no foresight. It cannot plan for your retirement. Imagine a gene. Let's say this gene gives you incredible calcium absorption when you are 20 years old. This makes your bones strong, helps you hunt, helps you fight, and guarantees you find a mate. But let's say this same gene causes calcium deposits to clog your arteries when you turn 50, leading to a heart attack. Will natural selection weed out this gene? No, it will actually favor it. Why? Because by the time the heart attack kills you at 50, you have already passed the gene on to your children. The transaction is complete. Evolution has already cashed the check. There is no maintenance crew for the post-reproductive body. Genetic damage accumulates silently. Mutations pile up like trash in a gutter that no one is paid to clean. We fall apart because, to the blind architect, we have served our purpose. We are disposable wrappers for the immortal code of DNA. Once the package is delivered, the wrapper is left to rot. But if indifference is the mind of evolution, then competition is its heartbeat. And this heartbeat drives a ceaseless, self-destructive war. We often think of evolution as survival of the fittest, assuming fittest means the healthiest or the strongest, but in reality, it often means the most competitive, and competition leads to arms races. Look at the peacock. The male peacock's tail is magnificent, a shimmering explosion of blue and green, but from a survival standpoint, it is a nightmare. It is heavy. It creates drag when flying. It acts as a neon sign for tigers saying, "Eat me, I am here." It is a massive metabolic tax on the bird. So why does it exist? Because the females prefer it. To win the mate, the male must push his physiology to the absolute breaking point. He must be more extravagant than his rival, even if it kills him. Humans are not immune to this. We are locked in our own arms races. We see it in the corporate world, in professional sports, and in social status. We burn out. We destroy our mental health to signal success. We work 80-hour weeks to buy things we don't need, to impress people we don't like. This is the evolutionary drive for relative success. You don't need to be healthy. You just need to be more impressive than the person standing next to you. Evolution rewards the winner, even if the race leaves the participants broken. And this brings us to the myth of morality. We want to believe that kindness is the law of the universe. We want to believe that nature favors cooperation and that good conquers evil. But the ledger of nature is balanced by efficiency, not ethics. Watch a lioness eating a zebra. She often begins to eat while the prey is still alive. It is gruesome. It is heartbreaking. But the lioness is not evil. She is just efficient. Killing the prey completely before eating takes extra energy. Starting immediately is faster. Cruelty is a valid strategy in nature. If a parasite can thrive by eating a host from the inside out, the architect approves. If a psychopath can climb the social ladder through manipulation and aggression, their genes will propagate. Human morality, our concepts of justice, mercy, and rights, these are not universal laws. They are a recent invention. They are a patch applied to our software to allow us to live in large groups without killing each other. But underneath the suit and tie, underneath the laws and the etiquette, the old kernel of ruthless self-interest is still running in the background, are ready to execute whenever survival is on the line. Perhaps the most frightening truth is that there is no safety net. We assume that because our civilization is complex, it is stable. We assume evolution prevents collapse. It does not. In fact, complexity often leads to fragility. A system that is highly specialized for one specific environment is doomed when that environment changes. Evolution does not plan for the future. It builds towers of cards, one on top of the other, maximizing short-term gain without ever checking the foundation. 99% of all species that have ever lived on this planet are extinct. Extinction is not an error. It is the default destination. We are racing toward the future, driven by the very instincts that helped us survive the savannah: consumption, expansion, in tribalism, and the architect will not save us from ourselves. So, where does this leave us? If we are nothing but the products of a blind, indifferent, short-sighted process, if we are flawed vessels carrying ancient scars, built only to reproduce and die, is there any meaning to be found? This is where the story shifts, because there is one variable that the blind architect did not anticipate: us. We are the anomaly. We are the only species in the 4 billion-year history of this planet that has opened its eyes. We are the only matter that has woken up and looked at itself. We have realized that we are in a machine. And that realization changes everything. Because we understand the cruelty of nature, we can choose to defy it. Evolution gave us pain to ensure survival, but we chose to use that pain to build empathy. We built hospitals to fix the flaws the architect left behind. We invented anesthesia to silence the agony that nature considers necessary data. Evolution gave us anxiety to flee from predators, but we use that foresight to plan for the future, to build safety nets to protect the vulnerable. Evolution made us for the short term, but we are learning to think for the long term. We have created laws to curb the cruelty that nature rewards. We have invented philosophy and art to create meaning in a universe that offers none. We have looked at the cold, hard math of survival and said, no, that is not enough for us. We cannot escape our biology. We will always carry the legacy of the struggle, the back pain, the fear, the selfish impulses. They are part of us, but we are no longer slaves to them. By understanding the ruthless logic that built us, we liberate ourselves from it. We can forgive ourselves for our flaws, knowing they are not personal failures but historical echoes. We can forgive each other for our aggression, knowing its deep roots. The blind architect may have built the house, but we are the ones living in it. And for the first time in history, we have the power to renovate. We have the power to decide that while we come from indifference, we will move toward compassion, that while we were built for survival, we will live for meaning. That is the defiance of being human. And that is a story worth telling.